So for you, it's like a harmonizing of yourself. Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
that's a lot of what I think about.
Yeah.
I like the tuning fork analogy because one of the things I say so often is, you're harmonizing your being by going through these processes, right? Like you're coming back around. Like the more you do it, the more you understand how to harmonize yourself. And we're all our own unique instrument, and you have to figure out how to tune yourself, right? Like somebody else can help you tune your guitar, assuming you're a guitar in this analogy, but you also know how you want to sound. So, adjusting here and there, those tuning metrics are really based on your own frequency and how you want to exist and how you want to navigate space and time. And you can learn about yourself so much along the way. And I think it's fun to walk those paths because you're like, oh wow, I'm being like this today. Like,
Yeah, and
oh,
it
wow.
shows up on your
Yeah,
mat. Sometimes
yeah,
it's the only
100%.
place you notice it. Like life is busy and there's so much noise around you with work or kids or life or like wherever you live, there's 1,000 things. So expecting yourself to be able to emotionally tap in the midst of that is setting yourself up for failure, I think, if you don't already have the tools. It's really difficult to do in the moment. So you need the quietude of the practice, whether it's literally quiet or not, but that headspace to actually be okay and feel safe to go into your head and into your body, so that later it becomes part of that ritualistic second nature to then make that inquiry. Because it's so hard learning that kind of skill, the skill of emotional tracking and listening to your body off of the mat is so much harder than on the mat where you're in this container and you can quiet that other noise.
I think it's one of the most wonderful things about having a practice space, whether that's at home, whether that's in studio, is all of a sudden there's been a parameter, right?
Yes.
And then the same with the mat. The mat's also a parameter in some way, shape, or form. It is the tool for the practice. Whether you use it or not, we're relatively moving through this rectangular space. So there's some confinement there. There's some rules that go along with keeping your body in that zone in some way, shape, or form. I know we tend to embellish upon that quite a bit.
We've expanded that container just like a little bit, but still a container.
Yeah, but still a container, roughly a structured space in which you move into. And that gives you so much of a freedom to start examining the way that you are existing in this moment. And I think that really helps with how you, for lack of a better word, play with time. Because time is this unique resource that we all have, and some of us have a lot of free time, and some of us have a little, and some of us have time is so interesting to explore, right? But when you're considering how you use time, you're really considering yourself, right? Because we are the sum of our actions, not the sum of our thoughts. And so you could be having a whirlwind of things going on in your mind because you're someone that's just really thought heavy. I am this way.
I was like, someone, or we? It's okay. Continue speaking the first.
Yeah. I am very thought heavy, of course. But while all this could be going on in my mind, I'm the sum of my actions because that's what I put out into the world. That's what processes through me over the course of my life, right? Like over doing these practices and moving things through. Like it's the path of manifestation, right? Like we have all these things that are in our mind. Maybe you have a lot of things going on. Maybe it's just a few. It's good either way, right? But over time, your actions are those things processing through you and coming out into the world.